Blessings. It's EJC Arts. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to draw like this. Now, I'm going to tell you the supplies that you're going to need. And guess what? Majority of these supplies you could find at the Dollar Tree. Keep watching. Now, one of the first major supplies that you're going to need in order to draw is graphite. Now, there's so many lists of things. Right now, I ain't gonna lie to you. The graphite pencil. Now, with the graphite pencil, you're gonna need the 2B, HB, and the 6B. But to be honest with you, it's best to just get a whole set. Now, something like this, the whole set, you're not gonna find at the Dollar Tree. You're best gonna find it at Michael's. And to be honest with you, going to Michael's, if you sign up for their membership, you do get points, you do get cash back, and I'm all about saving money. But when it comes down to the HB and the 2B, you will find that at the Dollar Tree. But that's one supplies that you're going to need. Now, another one is going to be compressed graphite. I love these when it comes down to drawing something big and you're just going to just need a lot of, you know, basically if you just have like a big area that you just want to fill up, this is really good to use. Now, something like this, how can I say this? You can't really get it in that sharp tip. You know what I'm saying? That's where the pencil comes in. And also the mechanical pencils. I love this. Now, I got the HB set, but you could get different sets. You could get the 2B, the 4B, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes down to the mechanical pencils, it's always good to get that good, fine, crisp line. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you could get that with the pencil, but that's going to be a lot of sharpen. And on top of that, you know, we're going to get to that pretty much later on this video when I explain when it comes down to the erasers and all that other stuff. But when it comes down to graphite, the mechanical pencil, the compressed graphite, and the graphite pencil. Now, these are three things that you're going to need when it comes down to graphite. And this is something that I highly suggest that you should invest in if you want to be drawing. Okay, now for the second supply that you're going to need, and this is my favorite, is charcoal. Now, when it comes down to charcoal, there's so many things you could get. Of course, you got the charcoal pencil, and you got the compressed charcoal, and I like to get the white charcoal pencil. Now, when it comes down to drawing in different color paper, which we're going to get to later, that's when the white charcoal pencil comes into effect, especially for artwork like this. Now, there's so many. Now, I love the white charcoal pencil. Now, one thing about charcoal, it's more darker than graphite. Now, one thing I do want to mention, there is graphite powder and charcoal powder, which I like. Now, one thing about those, it does get really messy, but it's real fun to use. But one thing about charcoal, it's only 3 different stages. You have light, medium, and dark. When it comes down to the charcoal, this is something that I really don't see at the Dollar Tree. Maybe yours might have it, but mine's don't. And I love the compressed charcoal. Now, this comes really handy, especially like I said before, for large areas that you want to cover. This is really good to have. And when it comes down to the white charcoal pencil, For me, I feel like it's always good to have a set. Now, I really don't go ham and crazy on this. And just to let you know, they do have compressed white charcoal, which comes really handy too as well. You feel me? So there's so many different ways with this. But when it comes down to charcoal, it's like four different stages. I said three, but I forgot about the white. So that includes four different stages that you really need. And it's really fun to use once you get the hang of it. Okay, now this is the third thing that's really, really, really important is erasers. Now, of course, you can find your typical eraser at the Dollar Tree, but then one thing that really blew my mind, and I thought this was funny, is that there's different kinds of eraser. And I'm like, man, I don't need them kinds, man. But come to find out, they really do help and they're kind of helpful. One of my favorites that I use all the time is the kneaded eraser. Now, this one right here is very easy to clean. Of course, you're gonna have to like keep playing with it and going like this, you know what I'm saying, until you get it all, you know what I'm saying, all clean. But one thing about this, you could just play around with it like it's dough. You know what I'm saying? If you need to get those little little areas, you could just go like this or whatnot. This is really good when it comes down to highlights. This is one thing I highly recommend for artists out there to use. Now, this right here is your typical basic eraser. Now, of course, the brand doesn't matter on this one. You could go to the Dollar Tree and just pick these out. You feel me? But you always need that typical regular eraser. You know what I'm saying? They always come in handy. Now, this is one thing that I really, really found funny that I thought I was never going to use. And it's an electrical eraser. Like an electrical eraser, like, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, this really does come in handy, especially for the outline of areas that you want to get out there. And listen, I thought it was funny. I thought it was being a lazy artist, but it's not. When you look up more videos and you see other artists using this, and when you come down to using this too, especially when it comes down to highlight areas that you want to get to, this comes really, really handy. But you're always going to have to need a battery for this one. So think about that. Now, another thing too is a pencil eraser. Of course, I got the Teambo eraser. I'm botching on the name right now, but y'all get it. You know what I'm saying? These come really, really handy. One thing I like about this, it has a little brush. So when I get down to certain areas that I'm just erasing and highlighting, especially for highlight, just squeeze a little brush right there. You know what I'm saying? Get that little area cleaned up right now, and it's looking clean, crisp, and nice. I love this too right here too, because this is almost like a mechanical eraser. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like a mechanical pencil, but it's just an eraser type. And then this comes really handy and smooth. When it comes down to erasers, I always thought it was just a typical thing that you just need, but no, there's different styles. The brand doesn't really matter, but the styles do matter when it comes down to the pencil eraser, the kneaded eraser, and the electrical eraser. You know what I'm saying? And your typical basic eraser. But go to your local art supply store, check out the erasers, and just have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to experiment and just try out new things. Now, another thing that you're going to need, which I don't think you're going to find at the Dollar Tree, but Michael's Hobby Lobby is where you're going to find. And I'm talking about blending materials. Now, of course, you got the old school finger, and then you could put the tissue paper over your finger and then get to certain areas to blend, which is okay, and I get it. But I love these materials. Now, this right here is a makeup sponge. I didn't even know if it was a makeup sponge, you know what I'm saying? But when I was live streaming one day, someone's like, "Is that a makeup sponge they could use it?" And I'm like, I guess it is. I didn't even know. I love this when it comes down to rubbing and shading areas. Of course, I got that pointy tip, and I could just squeeze it almost. It's almost like a stress release ball. You know what I'm saying? But this comes really, really handy when it comes down to areas that you want to get to, especially for that fine little tip. And this is really easy to clean. I put this in my laundry, in my washer machine and it comes out clean. That's one thing that's really important about this. Now, I don't highly suggest this, but this is one thing that I mainly use all the time, and this is just me in general. You might not like it, but I like it. Now, another thing is, I don't know how to pronounce this, but this thing is almost like a rubber tip. My roommate gave me like some art supplies, and then I found this, and then I already know this was used for blending, and I just had fun with it. Now, this had two pointy edge right here. The this was really pointy in the beginning, but now it's not. It was pointy like this. This one right here is a thin line. Now, for this one right here, I kind of mostly use this for pastel, but when it comes down to charcoal, especially when you get into the lines and I'm working on a small little project, when I'm working on details, or when you're working on a big project, but when you get into that small little area right there that you don't want to do too much, you can't use your fingers and you can't use that little this right here, this comes really, really handy. Now, I don't know what the name of this is, but I will put the descriptions down below where you could purchase it because I did bought this from Amazon. And this is really easy to clean too. All you got to do is just get some tissue paper, some all purpose cleaner, wipe it off, and then boom, it's good to go. Now, another thing is this right here, you're gonna find at the Dollar Tree, or you could just make your own. It's basically a paper rolled up into a Sharpie tip. It's almost like pew, 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 one of them boring arrows or whatnot. This right here is really dirty. But of course, as you can see, I do have a clean set because I have so much of this. These comes in different sizes, but I have one for charcoal and then one just for graphite. But these do come really handy. Now, I don't really, how can I say this? I don't really suggest you guys to clean this a lot, but it is really good just to clean this. I mean, there's other ways you could clean this, I guess, with multi-purpose cleaner and then sandpaper, which we're going to get into later on. But that's one thing that I really highly suggest is one of these because every artist uses this. And of course, my favorite is blending stomps. Now, these come in so many different sizes. Of course, I use this for my pastel, I use this for my graphite, and I use this for my charcoal. I love the fact that these come in different sizes because I thought they only had this big boy and then they had a small one. So I'm like, hey, and then I see that they had different sizes of them. So I've just bought a whole set of these and I just had fun with them. But these are one thing that I highly suggest. I don't think you're gonna find these at the Dollar Tree. I think you're gonna find these at Michael's and of course Amazon. You can find anything at Amazon. Now, the next thing you're gonna need is a sharpener. Things to get the charcoal and the graphite pencil nice, crisp, and sharp. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different ways. Now, of course, some people like to use the knife. Now, for me, I got sweaty hands and hey, I ain't really good like that. You know what I'm saying? Of course, hey, listen, everybody got their thing. You know what I'm saying? If that's you, you stick to that. But me, nah, I ain't with that. Now, of course, you do got your basic sharpeners. You know what I'm saying? This one is one of my favorites because it has two holes. Just in case I got a big size pencil and a small size pencil that I could just use. It's just gonna fit in right there, smooth and easy and breezy. You feel me? But for me, my favorite thing I love to use is the sandpaper. Now, one thing about the sandpaper that I love is that you could keep the residue. I have one for charcoal and then one for graphite because I do use graphite powder. Now, I don't mix it in with the graphite powder brand that I bought. I do have a certain jar that I just keep and I just put all the graphite powder in there. Now, when it comes down to the charcoal, I put all the charcoal powder same way. I got a jar and I put it all in there, but I love these the most. I kind of go ham and crazy on these. Now, these you're not going to find at the Dollar Tree, of course, Michael's and Amazon, but Real talk 101, if you do go to Home Depot or Lowe's, you will find a big supply of the sandpaper. But that's one thing that I love. And then the benefit of it is that when it comes down to that, you know what I'm saying, as you scrape it in, you could just use the residue and just save it off. I'm all about saving. One thing as us as artists, we don't throw away stuff. We look at it and we could be like, hey, I could use this for later, and you know what? I could just save that and just use it. Come on now. We all about saving money. All right. So next thing is, and this is something that you could find at the Dollar Tree, but there's gonna be several. You know what I'm saying? It's paper. Paper is really important. Now, when I was young, I just used computer paper, regular school paper. I never knew there was a difference between them, but yes, there is a difference, especially when it comes down to the layer of it, because some papers are really rough and thick. I didn't thought anything about it until later on. More, I got deep into this. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, you do got your sketch paper. Now, you might find this at the Dollar Tree, but majority of these you're going to find at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and Amazon. But I just got the small little one right here, but I do got big sizes of these. Now, these, when it comes down to graphite and charcoal, you're going to get some good stuff with these. Now, this is my favorite, and it's pastelmat paper. This is really expensive. I'm not going to lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, a big size paper like this, just for one, it's like $15 in my local art supply store. You feel me? So that's not something that I just like to play around with and just waste money on. You know what I'm saying? Like when I know I'm gonna be working on something, I'm gonna have fun with it, then I just go there and just got spend my money. In Creole, that just means wasted. You know what I'm saying? But this is one of my favorites because even though the paper is really, really rough, when it comes down to pastels, it really comes down really, really smooth, and then the color just pop. I love to use different color paper. After a while, I got tired of using white. I've been using white all of my life. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Okay,
another
yeah, I
thing
remember you
too
was
is
telling me.
charcoal paper. Charcoal paper is a little bit thicker, and if you feel it, you could feel the thickness of it. Now, don't assume that just because this is charcoal paper, you have to use charcoal. Of course, you could use graphite. Play around with it, experiment. You know what I'm saying? See what works best for you. Now, I used to use charcoal paper, but think about this too as well. When you're taking a picture off of your phone and you're trying to go to anywhere to make some prints, you're going to see like the pixel and how it's going to come out and stuff. You're really gonna see like, damn, you know what I'm saying, like the details in it. When I'm talking about the details, I'm talking about the quality
Uh,
of it. Now, there is drawing paper. Drawing paper, I think you're gonna find at your Dollar Tree. I mean, when I just stopped at my Dollar Tree, I always see sketch paper and drawing paper. This is something that I was just using when I was like back in high school and college. So I think my college professor was just handing these around or whatnot, so I picked one up. Now, going back to what I said about different color paper, this right here is just black sketch pad paper. Now, in the beginning of the video, you remember I was talking about the white charcoal pencil. This right here, when it comes down to using the white charcoal pencil, is going to be really popping out like crazy. Now, here's the crazy part, because now you're going to the opposite. You know how some people they start from dark? Of course, with this, you're going to start from light. You know what I'm saying? But the paper is already black already. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's always good to experiment, try new things. Now, this right here is the Bristol paper. The Bristol paper, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's just like the details, but this is so smooth. Now, if you're the type of person that like to use markers, I think this is best for you because the paper is so smooth. Now, a lot of artists like to use this, especially when they're making high, like, those high realism portraits. Now going back to what I said in the beginning, when it comes down to charcoal powder and graphite powder, when it comes down to this smooth paper, I'm not gonna lie to you, it just comes out, whew, something about that smoothness. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know what I'm saying? It's like a baby's bottom or something like that. Whew, I just love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. But like I said, it's always good to experiment. Now, these are my two favorite papers right here: the tone tan and the tone gray. Now, the gray is kind of crazy because I always vision my artwork to be like this. Now, this is when the charcoal and the charcoal white comes in handy when it comes down to situations like this. Now, of course, you could use color pencils. When I'm ever doing like animated work, working on some Dragon Ball Z type of stuff, the white pops out like crazy, 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 crazy. But if you're going to be using charcoal, I highly recommend this. I highly, highly recommend this because it's just, I don't know, it's just more fun and just to see your artwork, especially in a different color paper, just pop out. Very lovely. Now, one thing too, especially when you're finished using your artwork, I really wish somebody would have told me this in the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? Is varnish and fine art spray. Now, with the varnish, you're going to use this when your artwork is already finished and you want it to gloss and you want it to shine so nicely. Other people, they got different things that they like to use, but I like to use this because now, one thing I highly do recommend is that some people are not used to the smell. It's not something that you want to use indoors. You just want to spray your artwork outside and just spray this on. Now, the more you spray it, the more it's going to shine. Now, with the fine art, with the fix it, my bad, with the fix it, um, it's almost like you could spray it on your artwork and it's not going to smudge, if you get what I'm saying. Because there's sometimes when you're traveling or when you're moving around your artwork, if you touch it way too much or whatnot, it does get smudged and then certain things start to rub off. This is where the fix it comes in. Now with the varnish, that's when you want it to highly gloss and then shine and like, ooh, that's looking shiny and cool. It's almost like a candy painted car. You know what I'm saying? That's where that comes in. I really wish somebody would have told me that. Now, it's good to do this outdoors. Spray it on your artwork just for 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? That's all you're going to need. The more you spray, the more you're going to have to leave it out there because it's going to, if you do this indoors, I'm telling you, it's going to start to smelling the whole house. It's kind of like a little bit toxic. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want that. But this is one thing that I highly suggest. All right. Now, when it comes down to supplies that you're going to need, those are the ones. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, half of them you can find at the Dollar Tree. But I highly suggest you to go to Michael's and Hobby Lobby. I love Michael's more because once you sign up for their membership, you get cash back and you get extra money in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? I'm spending money and I'm getting money back. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Who could beat that? Now, if you have any art supplies that I forgot that you use, that you want to suggest, write them down below and let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope it helps out for you in the end. And there's going to be more coming. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. 1.